This is Khatt Chronicles, design stories from the Arab world and the Swana region. My name is Huda Smitshuijzen AbiFarès, and I have with me today Walid Bouchouchi. Walid Bouchouchi is an Algerian graphic designer living and working in Marseille in France. He received his design degree from the École supérieure des arts et beaux-arts d'Alger, the College of Fine Arts in Algiers. In 2016, he founded Akakir Studio in Paris, which then moved to Marseille. His work focuses on the cultural sector, including art direction, typographic design, and illustration. He designed the visual identity of various international artistic festivals such as Ciné Palestine in Paris, Aflam in Marseille, Kalima Fiesta in Brussels, and the Phonetics Festival in Algiers. Akakir Studio develops a multilingual and multi-scriptural visual language composed from several languages and alphabets, namely Arabic, Latin, and Tifina, within which different cultures coexist. Taking a stand against the homogenization of images in contemporary global culture, Akakir Studio's design deconstructs dominant visual references and employ direct inspiration from local popular culture. Its work include the production of critical and educational tools that are not only playful, but also aim to introduce users to these new writing systems. Please join me in welcoming Walid Bouchouchi, founder of Akakir Studio. Hi, Walid. How are you?
Hi, Huda. Thanks. And you?
Good. You just told me you came back from Algiers, so it must be very nice to kind of keep the connection with your homeland, create the kind of connection with France. So maybe you can kindly start by describing to the listeners your design education in Algiers and the design scene there and your journey into France.
Yeah, sure. When I was in Algiers, in the fine art, I was in design graphics specialty. But at this time, I think I consider myself more like as a plastician or a visual artist. And I used the graphic tools like the infography or what I learned in different ateliers at school, as a way of translating my idea, a message, and all what I created at this time is about my self-expression. I was surrounded by different designer or artists, but we all was friends at this time, and we all created thing and make exhibition in Algiers. Most of the exhibition was independent exhibition in our place. We had an atelier called Box 24, and then we imagined a concept exhibition called Picturie Générale. And it was an exhibition with the first edition was with 30 artists. And then from the first one to the third, we developed the number of artist participants. And we finished with, I think, the last one with 26 artists from around Algeria. So it was a lot of creation, but self-creation. And I think the third one was the last exhibition where I live in Algiers. And then I moved to Paris because I feel like I do all what I can do in Algiers. I had a lot of chance because I can do most of what I want to do in my city. I exhibit my work in even in MAMA. It's the most known museum is Musée des Arts Modernes d'Alger. So I started from the bottom, and I arrived there, and I worked for the museum to make catalogs, visual identity for exhibition. For example, the FIAC 14. It's le FIAC, c'est le Festival International des Arts Contemporains. It's a really important exhibition with artists from all around the world, and I make the design graphic for this exhibition. And after this, I feel like it's always the same person, and it's always the same exhibition, and I don't want to make a second round. So I say, okay, thank you. and I go to Paris to make a master in creation and art contemporain. There, I think I changed my vision of what is design. And in Paris, so I make a stage. I was intern in a studio design called 5A Atelier, and there I think it's in this studio I discovered that we can have creation in making design graphic. It's not about corresponding typography, color, and making a good poster. Or we can also spread idea on our poster or in a book design, even if it's about making column and spacing between letter. But we can have some choice, and this choice can reflect our expression. So I fall in love about design, and also I had to meet Jeremy Land, who is a type designer in Velveteen Type Foundry, and also he introduced me to the type design. I wasn't interested on matchmaking typography when I was in Algeria, but I don't know nothing about how to create a typeface or things like this. So this 2 years, the 2 first years in Paris was really formateur.
Well, it's interesting that you start in fine arts and then you do like a focus on design by kind of falling into it, not by planning it. When were these years that you were in Paris?
Yeah, it was 2050 and 2060. Because I had my graduation from the fine art in 2030, and I worked 1 year before leaving Algiers. Because I started working before having my degree in fine art. So I started working in, I think, third year. And so I had maybe 3 years of working in Algiers to make all what I want to do. And in Paris, the 2 years, 2015, 2016, was very firmer.
But does that mean from your story that in Algiers there's no really like proper formation in graphic design, or that there are like professional studios, or is it just advertising agencies and then?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think I work on advertising agency, publicity for advertising for big companies of soda and cars, and but it wasn't my thing. I think I was all day making a declination of size for different bannier on the city, and it was always in speed.
But then now, when did you decide to move to Marseille, and what happened there?
As I say, I fall in love on making design and the response to command of client, and I feel peaceful with this. Okay, you want me to do this? No problem. I'm here. I have knowledge to translate your idea on image, and I know how to speak to your audience in color, in type, in composition. Let me do it. And I was okay with this. But the problem at this moment was that I haven't enough time to respond to this command, because if I put all my time in my client, I wasn't able to live in Paris. It was too much expensive. From the other hand, I was obliged to work on a studio agency in Paris to pay my rent or what I need. And here was a very nice experience. Also, I work on a studio called Tactile Studio, where we design all what is destiny to people blind or who don't see perfectly. Museum. For example, I work for Louvre Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
We work all the tactile. We call it station tactile, which is in each space of the museum. You have a station, and there you have like a 3D of the space with the different place of the work, a text in braille, the all the work in this place. When there was a sculpture, so we had to recreate the sculpture in 3D, or for the painting, so we recreate the painting in relief. And it was a really nice experience because as a graphic designer, I understand how to speak to the eyes of people. I learned how to speak to the eyes of people, but now at this moment, I had to speak to the hand, and it was another language. But even apart of what I learned, it was a good challenge to understand that not all people have the same start with the same chains, and how to make it inclusive, because all what is back of this studio is about inclusivity, how to include people who don't see perfectly or don't see, and thinking about sensitivity. So sometimes what it was about sound design in space. Sometimes it was about odor, olfactive. So I worked 1 year in this studio, and it was very formal also. But at this time, I had only 2 days free for me. Mm-hmm. The other days I was in agency, and in 2 days, I remember at this time I worked for the Festival Ciné Palestine in Paris. I make all the visual, the program, all their communication, and in 2 days, I just I passed my week at work. 4 days in agency, 2 days for Festival Ciné Palestine, and I wasn't able to work for another festival, for example, or for another company with my studio. And it was important for me to have my own studio, not for the studio, but for the graphic choice. I wanted to be the director artistic somewhere, so to choose why use this type and not this one. At this moment, I started to think about leaving Paris to find maybe a smaller city who can be more welcoming. So I think about Brussels in the first time, but I think the climate wasn't very friendly for me. And then a lot of friends of me started to move to Marseille. All of them have a project. They say, "Oh, I'm going to Marseille and I'm creating my own edition, independent edition." Or another, "Oh, I'm going to Marseille and I want to make 2 years without working, and I want to make yoga, and I want to make this." And they say, "Oh, there is something there. I don't know what, and I don't know Marseille at this time." I just go, and I say maybe I can go for 1 year. It makes me understand what I want, what I need, and now it's my 5 years here.
You found home in Marseille.
Yeah, it's really c'est accueillant. It's welcoming.
It's welcoming. Yeah. It's not a small city, but it's really a very, very vibrant city and very interesting in many ways. Maybe you can tell the listeners a little bit more about like the design scene or the cultural scene in Marseille.
So first, I wanted to say also that what I find in Marseille very nice is that it's a city that are founded by migrants who come from Greece, or which is at this time it's in Turkey now. The place it's Fossé. It came from Fossé, and we call Marseille la cité phocéenne, which is the Phocéan city, because these people come from Fossé. they leave Fosse because of the war. They come here 1,000 years before, and they found Marseille. And Marseille see the coming of a lot of immigrants, like a wave of migrants from Armenia, from Comoros, from Algeria, from Tunisia, from everywhere in Mediterranean. And I really appreciate this, that even the local people, the native from Marseille, who say, we are Marseille, we are from Marseille, they have an origin in another place from the Mediterranean. So
how has that affected your design work?
I think when you are in a city as Paris, who has like a story, and you start to force yourself to find an angle in work and your work who match with the big story, the huge story of Paris, of design, and it's look like
you're trying to adapt also your work to the environment and the context.
About adaptation, but adaptation for me is something positive. I don't look at it as something negative. But the word who's coming is corruption. But it's like you corrupt your design or your story to match. In Marseille, I think I'm more what I am. My design is what I am. It's my journey. It's I'm coming from Algeria, and I will live in Paris, and now I'm here, and I'm designing from around Mediterranean Sea things, and it's okay, and people understand what is it. And when you talk about the Marseillan scene, it's something like this. It's a lot of people who come from everywhere. And also Marseille was more known for the illustration, for artistic creation. And this 5-10 years, a lot of designers from the region came from Lebanon, from Algeria, Tunisia, from south of Mediterranean, but also from Italy, from Spain, from France, from Berlin, from Swiss, who come to live here because for the same things, sun and a big apartment. And so we all here, and each one of us create with his story. We like this, and we consider this is what is nice in our work, is that it's different. It's different, and it's heteroclite. It's not all about clean design. And
I want to take you back, talking about like the intercultures and the connection of cultures. So there's one project that is now being exhibited in the Museum of Art and Design in Hamburg, in the exhibition Inner Structures, Outer Rhythms, that started with this project on phonetics. And that's a project that you did for, maybe you can explain a little bit more about this project and the kind of, you're starting to, actually bring various Algerian cultures within one script that you totally invented. So maybe you can talk about this project that I find absolutely fascinating.
Yes, for Phonotype, I think what is nice, we come to Marseille. So what is nice in Marseille is that Phonotype find his place in Marseille. It's also one language there's a lot of language in Marseille who coexist. And the idea of Phonotype is coming from a constant that is we can't write Algerian language with the Arabic script or the Latin script. Each one of them are used in Algeria. In Algiers, especially, we use these two scripts, Latin and the Arabic script. And now we use also the Tifinagh script because it was the official language, and everywhere you have these three scripts coexisting. The problem is that when it is an official communication, for example, Al-Bank Al-Markazi or La Banque Centrale, so it isn't the Algerian language. It is Arabic language written in Arabic, or French language written in Latin. For the moment, for till now, we don't have problem because we are in transcription. We transcript language with its alphabets. We talk with different language. When we speak a mix of Amazigh, French, Espanol, Malt, a word from everywhere, and all these words have different phonetic. For example, the cycle, we call it vélo. Vélo with a V, like French word is vélo. But we can't write vélo in Arabic. So we can write philo with the fa, but it's not a real transliteration. In the same time, we say, for example, Omar, which is start with the a, or na'na, which is double a, and the a doesn't exist in the Latin script. So many times, for many years, Algerians don't have to write Algerian language, because when we was at school, the teacher blame us if we speak in Algerian. They told us it's the street language. It's there's no place for this language in school. We were obliged to speak in Arabic or in French, depending of the course. And then when you go out of the school, you are in the street. You just have to. You don't write because we don't have SMS at this time. And then in the end of the 90, beginning to the 2000, we start to have GSM, and we start to write SMS. And here we start to create our way of writing Algerian. Well, we are not the only region or the only country. I see the same problematic and the same answer from Moroccan people, Tunisian. I think in Egypt we call it Franco, this way of writing. So including numbers. So the A is the 3, the Ha is the 7, the Qa is the 9. At the moment, the 5 was a Kha, because 5 in Arabic start with Khamsa, but we don't need this. So this technique, this part. I started to say, okay, we can write Algerian with numbers and letter, but I wanted to harmonize this and have one common aesthetic for phoneme, because it's about phonetic. So if the ha, qa is in number, they don't have the same aesthetic of the A, B, C, and they don't have the same X high. And for me, it was problem. I don't like this visually. I don't like at this moment, because now it changed. So I say how to harmonize this and how to create a work who can put light on this problem, because sometimes when I speak to a friend of me in Algiers, they don't notice that we can't write Algerian. For them, it's not a problem. We can write it in Arabic, for example.
Yeah.
I always give the same example. We have Mujahid, Shahid, who called Ali Lapointe. So Ali Lapointe in French, because he's fast. He's known. He was known for his. So Ali Lapointe, but Ali Lapointe, if we want to write it in Arabic, we write Ali Lapointe with the ba.
Yeah.
And if we want to write it in Latin, we had Ali Lapointe. Ali, and I start to imagine a system of an alphabet with all the phonetic that we use in Algiers. And I found 45 phonetics. I think if a language think about this problem, he can find more, but I just limited this to 45. And because the idea is not to create something really usable, it's more about a work, an artistic work, who came to, as I say, put light on something I'm interested on, and I wanted to share this reflection to people who can see this work. So I create all this alphabet and I share it different places in Algiers, in France, in Sweden, in different places.
And it's so for you, it's not about creating a new writing system, because then you have to be very scientific and it has to be taught, and it's, but more of like bringing this conversation through the design work. I think it's interesting, though, that when one looks at this script or this alphabet that you've created, you can see kind of the mixing of the three like writing systems together. Like you've used, Tifinagh with Arabic and with Latin and created something out of that. And it's almost like, I like it because it's like an imaginary script. But, what you address is, of course, specific to Algeria and in your mind, in your quest, but it also applies to all Arab countries. And then I think this idea of, for political reasons, mostly, I think Arab countries consider Arabic, consider that all the Arab countries speak Arabic, and that all the spoken language is a kind of dialect variation, corrupted Arabic, if you want. And there's always this discussion about, is it another language or is it, another dialect? Because, what is dialect? What is language? We're not linguistics here, but it's interesting still to see it from like the cultural perspective and cultural history. So I want to take you from that to, you said you started being interested in type design. And so I wonder whether, in your practical work, whether you still do type design, but then for practical projects, and whether you work on Latin type or Arabic type or both. Is that something part of your thing, or you only work on lettering projects and not type design?
So I work on type design. Not only lettering, I make a lot of lettering, of course, but I work also on type design, and so I created my first type. The first font I work on it is a Latin script that I work for Velveteen. The second one also was a Latin, is Avara. I think maybe you know it. I work on the black one.
Can you repeat that again? What is the name?
Avara.
Avara?
A-R-A.
Oh, okay.
So this Avara, I work on the black one. Then I created two type Tifinagh. The first one is Amdal, and the second is Ruki. And now I created two type Latin type, which is Stad. Stad have medium and regular, and Orbit. And those two, the last two was a command for a client. All this type are on Akakir type. It's like my foundry that I create. I make time to get this assurance or this legitimacy to create a foundry, because I feel like my typeface aren't serious. It's just for fun, or for example, Tifinagh. Who need Tifinagh? It's only in Morocco, in Algeria, and also in those two countries. Not everyone use them.
Are they taught in school as a script and the language? I mean, not the language. Language exists already, but the script, is it like taught in school? Because I know in Morocco they have a program.
Yeah, no, it's the case, but I don't know when we were children, we don't have it. But now I consider that before calling the foundry Akakir type, I was thinking about a name who called marge in French, which is margin, because I feel like my work on typeface are in marge of the creation, the normal creation of typeface, because I'm more interested by language than by the form of the letter. I like the idea of creating phonetic, creating letter, creating alphabet, and I think it's okay. Now I'm okay with this. I create every one of us have a vision of typeface, and my vision of typeface is related to language. And I think it's logical also because we write word from language. So
I have a question for you. I mean, you talk about your vision of how you imagine type design in the service of language or as a system for expressing language rather than as formal, as a aesthetic visual expression. Although I think in your work, there's no clear separation. It's still very aesthetic. But how would you say, like in your work, how do you differentiate yourself? Like, what is unique about Akakir Studio in your mind?
Oh, it's a hard question. I think in some place, I think I'm the first surprised by this. I don't know why people want to work with me, but serious. I think because it's not really sexy, but I think because I'm serious. So I think as design studio, behind the result, the visual result, I think there is the experience, the experience that we have with with a graphic designer. So if we say, okay, we have this problem, and can you help us? I know that I'm very someone who are invested in his work, and when I have a command, I really think about what's the real problem. Even if the client say my problem is the color, but I ask myself if he is right, or maybe he have another problem. It's not the color, maybe it's another problem, and I pass the time to analyze the command. Even the brief sometimes change. I don't know. For example, I give you an example or two. Habibti, the exhibition in Institut du Monde Arabe. In the beginning, when they call us, me and Fabien Sora from Kuntash Studio, they say we want to make an exhibition about the creation, the LGBT creation in the Arab world, and we're gonna call it Habibi, les révolutions de l'amour, the love revolution. But from me, in the beginning, I say, oh, I don't like this title. Why Habibi? Everything is Habibi. Habibi disco, Habibi t-shirt, Habibi pizza, Habibi funk, Habibi. Too much Habibi. But I can't say change. The problem is your name. It's not the poster. Even if we make a very nice poster. So I started to think how to change the title. And it's not easy because it's Institut du Monde Arabe. It's, this is a big institution with too much people in the administration who decide. So the idea was that, we are talking about LGBT creation and how it's about representativity and inclusivity, and we want to show the world that in Arab world there is this creation. And so I said Habibi is masculine word, but there is also Habibti. We never use Habibti. So what about using Habibti as an inclusive word and make it the poster? And it was very easy. They accept, and I was happy because it's not sure that they can do it. But we just take two typeface, bam, and we write Habibti. It was like an inclusive design, and it's okay. The poster was very nice, and all people even today, all people say, "Oh, you see my T-shirt." So it's everyone when I'm outside. Oh, I really like this exhibition, and I see the poster, and the poster now represent this exhibition. Sometimes you have exhibition, the poster is just an information. It's tell the date, the name, the place. Now this exhibition is really, this poster represent the exhibition, and sometimes you have tote bag or thing like this. And I think this is this experience. When people come to me, I don't do what they want. I do what I think is the best for them, even if sometimes it's not what I want. I think the best solution, the best answer to this problem as designer, to how to translate it, how to find a way. And also, I smile and I'm happy to work with people, so it's easy to come back.
Yeah, I can imagine you're very charming. So I would love to work with you too more often. I want to ask you, like, when you talk about this project, it's really very nice to hear. I mean, it's also what a lot of designers sometimes forget, that you have to work with a client. You are a professional. You have to advise them. You have to go beyond what, like you go to a doctor, you say, I have a pain here, but you don't tell them where, they help you figure out what the pain is, how to solve it, how to fix it, if it's fixable, etc. But it's really lovely to hear about this project, but maybe you have, maybe you can tell us about another project, one of like your favorite or one of the most challenging ones you've had.
Yes. Yeah, sure. So I talk about Habibi, which is one of them. But Habibi, what is specific is that I work on inclusivity. One subject that I like, or one challenge that I like to respond is the representativity. I think now, as I'm saying this, I think this is another thing why people want to work with me, because I know how to deal with representativity, inclusivity. Because when we came from our country, from Lebanon, from Egypt, from Algeria, we have this problem of misrepresentativity or misinclusivity, and we feel sometimes it's about feeling. Yeah? Because when I was in Algiers, and I see sometimes a poster of an exhibition of Algerian creation, contemporary Algerian, they say, "Oh, that don't represent me," or that is so cliche, and it's reduct our culture and what we are to a simple image, or like a camel. And sometimes even the client can be in the same way, the same vision, but they fall on this how to say, error.
Yeah, this trap in a way, like it's like a trap. Yeah.
And what is very hard is to deal with this. For example, the best project for me is Bonne Arrivée, is an exhibition in the MAD, the Musée d'Art Décoratif of Paris.
Okay.
Created by Youssouf Fofana from Maison Château Rouge. It's a very intelligent person for me who know how to make African culture being sexy, and he know how to share it with people, and how to share the African culture to the universal, how to make it how to make all people want to be in. Some people want to be African just because it's too sexy. And for me, when he called me to work on this project, of course I wanted to be in this project. It's Musée d'Art Déco of Paris. It's the best for me, the best museum of Paris about design. It's Youssouf Fofana, and it's Maison Château Rouge. Too much thing that I like. I wanted to be in, but the challenge is to be in without how to say, trop déranger,
without disturbing.
Yeah, without disturbing too much, till you can be just outside the project, and but also you have to give answer. So I remember at this time, Yusuf and his team asked me to détourne or to use a technique, an African technique from I think from Ghana, which they take tissue from like a patchwork.
Okay, to recycle.
Yeah, they use different patchwork, and they make the tenture. They make tenture with this, and
tenture is like tents, is textiles, right?
Yeah, une tenture, c'est un tissu qu'on colle au mur.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's like textile for.
Yeah, and this technique, they want me to use this technique to make the poster. So,
okay, wow.
And it's nice if it was about Ghanaian artisanal or art craft in Ghana, but if we want to represent Africa, it's about design, contemporary design and craft in Africa. And what talked to me as a graphic designer is, for example, the typeface or alphabet. And from France or from Occidental world, people don't imagine that Africa have alphabet or they have a writing system. So we start from this. Okay, African people have writing system, and people in France don't know. Of course, a writing system is design. So maybe if we take the writing system from each country or from each region of Africa, we have a designer from each part of Africa. So I divide, it's technical way, but I give you my backside. So I divide Africa in 5 zones: north, south, east, west, and center. And I took 2 scripts from each place. So in North Africa, I take Amazigh and Arabic. From the east, I take Gez for Ethiopian, Mande in the west, Adlam. So I take different system, writing system from Africa. And I take 2 glyph from 2 language, and it make me, I think, 60 glyph. And I composed the poster with this glyph. And what is good is that it's an abstract for people who don't write, who don't read this system. And also, if you just have, for example, Arabic, I use A and Jim. And if you see A and Jim in a poster, it's also abstract form. And I have like a collection of abstract form, and it's cool because when I create poster, I like to let place for people to imagine. I don't like the figurative poster. I like something abstract who let place to interpretation and place to imagination. So, and also if we want to imagine, people can imagine that all these letters are mobilier, design stuff. So like a table, a chair, things like this. And everyone liked this poster from the team, but also from the museum and people who come see the exhibition. And I was happy.
I want to see your poster. Is the exhibition? When was this exhibition? It's one of also my favorite museum in Paris.
Yeah, right. Oh, sure. It's a very nice museum. I think it was in 2021.
Okay. Oh God, in the middle of pandemic.
Yeah, just after. Yeah.
So, is this your favorite project, or you have another favorite project? You don't have favorite projects. They're all favorite.
Yeah, I think I really don't have a preference. I like all the projects that I work on. Sometimes what I prefer is also when we talk about the experience that the client have with me. So it's the same. Sometimes it's the experience that I have with my client. So some clients are really intelligent, smart, and as I say in my talk in Algiers 2 days before, I say that all the posters that I show, I share with the people there. I say all these posters are nice because it's collaboration with my client, and it's the same when I have an intern who send me a book, and I say, okay, I see the book, and all your posters are nice, but making a nice poster without brief, without a client, without contraint, how to say contraint,
without restrictions,
without restrictions of time, of budget, it's easy to make a nice poster. Or maybe not everyone, but everyone who study design can make a nice poster with some reference. You can create the same thing that you see, and it's okay. But making a lot of poster with a different client from everywhere, from different place from the world, and I like to say different place from the world because in different place we see design differently.
Yeah.
I feel when I work with the American to make poster, generally that they don't ask me. They just give me, oh, we wanted to have this title, this place, and this date, and I make what I want, and they don't ask more. It's my job to make it. When I work with the European people, I have to make some pedagogy, some explanation of what I'm doing, but there is also this confiance. When I work with the Arab world, sometimes they want to design with me, and I think, and I make also big cliche now because sometimes it's different. You have some people in Arab world who think who just come to me to make my job.
I agree with you. I think you cannot make a good design without a good collaboration with the clients. And I think it sounds to me like you also, with experience, you start to understand that in different cultures people behave differently, but that doesn't mean that it's not possible to do nice work with them. It's just understanding a different mentality and kind of managing it and managing to create something that you think is important, that you're proud of, that is, represents you, but also represents your client. And it's a really big challenge. I mean, but it's a challenge that I think it's good that you lecture about it for young designers to understand. I think this is really important. I want to take you from here to ask you, like, what are you working on at the moment? What are your future plans in the shorter term?
Now I'm working on visual identity for a media who called Histoire Crépue that I was fan before being contacted by them. Is a media who take a look to the story, the big story or small story, and talk about decolonial with the colonial vision of all the story. And they have a visual identity, but it was in the beginning when they start working, they just write Histoire Crépue in Gothic typeface, in white on red, and they just it's Histoire, in the colonial story written in Gothic, and it was the same. Why you use this typeface? And they asked them. I asked them. It was because they don't have graphic reference, and they like the typeface. It's also the Gothic is like rock and roll, and so maybe we can say it's a pop culture now, the Gothic. And this tree last year, I work a lot of. I had a lot of command, and I feel that I start to be bored by the repetition of this cycle. Someone come and say, "Oh, we want to redesign our identity, rebrand our identity, redesign the identity of our brand, or we want to make a poster for this event." And they say, "Okay, give me your brief, and I say, this is my code, and we start to work. Step 1, step 2, step 3. I deliver the work. I'm paid, and I see my work being printed and being shared on on the Instagram, and I relate it, and it's okay. And it's a repetition of this. And this year, I start to ask designer older than me or with more experience than me, say, do you feel in a moment? Do you feel this same? Do you have the same feeling? The feeling of being bored, even if I really like and I enjoy what I do, but there is something not cool now, and each one of them have his solution. Some tell me you can you can hire a young designer, and, but it's look like you transform yourself in manager and not designer. But the problem is that now I feel like I don't have too much time to design. I passed maybe 50% of my time making a meeting, making email, answer a call, and I'm a bit frustrated because I want to design more.
Yeah.
Now I decide to edit a book because I like making collections.
Publish a book.
Yeah,
edition. In French is édition, right?
Yeah, I want to publish a book because behind the design, I'm a collector. I like to collect different things, and maybe I'm working on publishing one of my collection to share because my collection is also my influence, my visual influence. I collect what I want, what I like visually, and it's a way of sharing the background of what is Akakir Studio.
What is it? What kind of things do you collect? Images is it images you take yourself or?
Yeah, sure. I take a lot of pictures, for example, of signage in the city. I take a picture of objects. I collect packaging. I collect stamp. I collect book. I collect vinyl, vinyl music. All this make my visual culture. So maybe it's something that I can share, but it's also a way for me to make my own book with my own brief, with the pay. I choose everything and being my own client.
And would it be available for people if they're interested in getting a copy? I mean, once you're ready, obviously you can decide how to market it. But the plan is to give it to people to sell it if people want to buy it.
Yeah. So the plan is this. Yeah. What is scared me is that what I like in this is to design it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure I will pay €1,000 to print it, this book, and then I will stock it somewhere. But I will never write people to sell it. So now the challenge is to find someone who like to sell book. I wanted to.
Well, let's talk when you're ready. I think maybe Khatt Books can be interested. I don't know.
Oh yes, with pleasure. Yeah,
it would be really nice. I mean, I want to, kind of we're coming close to the end of this conversation. So I want to ask you, do you have any final words for young designers, advice?
Yeah, I think first is curiosity. We have to force ourselves to be curious. Even sometimes I say I like to go to the design talks, and sometimes I go to a design talks for 2 hours, and it's just one sentence that I keep from all what is saying, And also, if young people, maybe it's interesting to see how older or more experienced designer think, and not what they design, because it's easy to lose our time in Instagram to see all the nice poster that Instagram share with us, or the algorithm send us, and I can pass 3 days seeing new typeface, very nice, and c'est un danger to lose this time, because sometimes when I see a lot of typeface, for example, on Instagram, I say, there is too much typeface. I don't have to design a new one.
Yeah.
And I think what is interesting is how designers think their design, and why they do this, and because it's give us a humanistic or vision of for example, now if someone listen to this talk, they see what interests me, and they see a human who talk about design, and it's not a very nice poster who take us from high, and I don't know if
do you have any like a kind of websites or places you go when you want to listen to interesting talks? Is there like some that you find interesting to guide people to?
So you have Graphic Matter, it's in French, and the second one is Lettre Mobile, and it's talk about type design.
Okay. Well, it was really a really lovely pleasure, a wonderful pleasure to talk to you. I really enjoyed this conversation, and thank you so much for your time. And I hope that we cross paths again in real, not just over, conversation, but in person.
Good
so thank you
me.
again. Until we meet again.
See you soon.